From the Sunmark Federal Credit Union Content Studio, this is the Sunmark 360 with Glenn Stacy.
Hi everybody, it's great to see you today and welcome to the Sunmark Content Studio and the Sunmark 360. Remembering your many passwords is no easy task these days, particularly with so many sites requiring elaborate combinations of letters and symbols and companies forcing employees to create new ones every 90 days. So it should be no surprise that a new study shows 8 in 10 Americans view the sophisticated and pesky password practices we follow as overkill. In a survey of 2,000 American adults, 81% of participants said they don't see the need for what they consider unnecessary digital security measures. It may be because 78% of adults admit they just have a hard time keeping track of all their passwords. 64% said they're irritated with constantly remaking passwords that mandate a healthy mix of letters, numbers, and symbols. The CAPTCHA codes weren't too popular among the survey takers either. 7 in 10 said they were frustrated by the oftentimes illegible display of numbers and letters that force users to prove they're not robots. And when you include two-factor identification, the majority of Americans agree that there are simply too many online security measures these days in general. Is it a necessary evil? Well, we talked with Adam Rozak, IT Business Security Systems Manager here at Sunmark, to try to clear up the confusing and sometimes frustrating world of online security. Hey Adam, thanks for joining us on the 360.
Hi, how are you?
Good to have you here. Now, I'm sure you're probably, as an IT professional, kind of surprised by this. Again, let's go over the study here. According to 2,000 American adults, 81% said they don't see the need and they think that digital security measures are unnecessary.
That is shocking to me. Yes, as an IT security professional, it's shocking to me to see a number as high as 81% being listed as not wanting to use their passwords.
Now, a lot of the frustration that was mentioned in this study was revolving around passwords and the frustration people feel remembering passwords and changing their passwords so often. Can you kind of give us a little bit of insight of why changing passwords every 90 days is necessary? Sure,
yeah, and I think passwords have become everyone's annoyance at this day and age. You need a password for everything you do, your phone, your email, everything. Many people reuse their passwords often. Folks choose a password that means something to them and they reuse it on everything, on every site, their credit cards, their online banking, their email. And what tends to happen are passwords become compromised, and without changing them at a frequent interval, folks could leave doors open for people to use their passwords.
Now, with that said, having so many different places for passwords and having to change it, is there a way that you could recommend that might make life a little bit easier for those watching, making a password easy to remember, or tips that might not make this so frustrating?
Sure. As we go on, passwords need to become stronger and stronger, longer and longer. They started as 4, 6, 8 digits. Now we're over 10 digits. A successful password should consist of something you can remember easily, and that has symbols, numbers. An easy way to generate one is to think of a sentence you know, or something that means something to you, a song, something to do with your childhood, something that means something to just you, and use that to create some type of structure similar to a sentence. I love Sunmark, with numbers, symbols mixed into the password.
One other thing that was mentioned in the study too is what we're saying a lot is that multi-factor identification. Can you share with me a little bit about why that's important, and what do you think is more important, the password or that multi-factor identification?
Well, multi-factor is very important, and I feel multi-factor is the next step past a password. Multi-factor is moving to the next level, and what it does is password is something that protects it, is something that you know, and what multi-factor does is introduces another factor, which is something that you have. Oftentimes they can be sent in a text message to you. They can use a security token in some instances, and that's some additional backup for a password. So many times you're using a password and supplementing also by using another factor, multi-factor, such as an SMS message or a text message.
Why is it important? People are, again, frustrated, according to the study anyway, about having to do this. But really, when it's your bank account or it is your credit card that you're using at these different shops and stores and online banking, I guess it's safer to at least, make sure that the right person is in this account, correct?
The number one answer is security, yes, and having something that you are, such as generally the phone is being used a lot these days. Everybody has their cell phone, and without your cell phone, you can't make it through the day. So that being the additional factor allows only you to access your bank account. And Sunmark offers multi-factor with their online banking. This way you are sure that it's you logging in and you receive a message to authenticate yourself, and you're aware that someone is logging into your account at that time.
All right, so we talked about passwords and the multi-factor identification and making sure the right person is entering their information into the account. Now, the third piece of this survey talked about those CAPTCHAs that people love to hate because they're just trying to make sure you're not a robot. But what is really a CAPTCHA? What's the purpose?
You're right. I'm sure we've all grown to know them at this point, and some of us have begun to dislike them as well. The purpose of a CAPTCHA is to be sure that no automation is going on, that some individual hacker has not automated the form, such as to continue filling out a form and create repeat user accounts, or to do it systematically and programmatically. So what it requires is a human to interact with that web form and say, here's my personal information, and yes, I'm going to decipher letters that are on the screen or pictures, such as some of the newer ones are using pictures of school buses, where you have to visibly identify the 3 that have a school bus, and therefore you've passed. This stops people from automating injection into the forms and creating havoc on websites.
So even though these 3 things are kind of annoying, as we see 81% of people think they are, probably a necessary evil.
Every single one of them is a necessary evil in its own space.
If you had to pick one of the 3 that you would have to use or you think is the most important out there, which one of the 3 would be the most important?
Hands down, right now, I would vote multi-factor. Passwords are required often as a beginning stage, but multi-factor would be my top vote at this point. So if you have a account that has the possibility of using multi-factor, research it and test it and protect your personal data. Multi-factor is a way to make sure you and only you are accessing that site, and you can be sure to protect your personal and confidential information.
All right, Adam, thanks so much for your time today. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
The survey found that between email, social media, shopping accounts, online banking, and more, the average person has 34 online accounts. Keeping that in mind, online security will continue to be a balancing act between protecting data and our convenience. If you'd like to contact the Sunmark 360, we'd love to hear from you. Our email address is sunmark360@sunmarkfcu.org. You can give us a like on our Facebook page as well, facebook.com/sunmarkfcu, and follow us on Twitter @sunmarkfcu. We'll see you next time right here on the Sunmark 360. Don't forget to follow Sunmark and the Sunmark 360 on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.